A big thank you to our sponsor, iFixit, who fights for your right to repair and makes really cool tools in the process. If you need to fix your phone, laptop, or even a vacuum, iFixit has thousands of parts, tools, and free guides. It's iFixit's 20th anniversary this year, and to celebrate, they're offering you $20 off of a purchase of $100 or more with a promo code Mercury20 until the end of this January. Happy fixin'!
Mercury, Mercury Stardust. She's a beacon of hope in the darkest night. Mercury, Mercury Stardust. She'll teach you how to make it all alright.
Hey there, hi, my name is Mercury, and I'm the trans Handy Ma'am. My pronouns are she, her, and I teach compassionate DIY. We're here to help renters, LGBTQIA members, and anyone who's feeling left out in a DIY space. Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, thank you for tuning into this wonderful episode of the Handy Ma'am Hotline. I am joined, as always, by my wonderful, amazing, esteemed, someone say, beautiful, co-host, Maggie Conrad.
Hello.
Woo, 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 woof, woof, woof. Maggie, you've turned the audience into a dog. Our audience is just woofing at you hardcore, Maggie.
I like this weekly dose of getting pumped up. It feels good.
Yeah, I mean, some would say I am the YMCA of DIY advice. Pump you up. No, what were those two guys from SNL back in the 80s that pump you up? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna pump you up.
Yeah, I'm 100% the Hans of DIY advice on the internet. I'm gonna pump you up. Yeah. Don't take broken for an answer. Sponsored by our wonderful friends at iFixit. But all that being said, Maggie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Now, the audience needs to know a few things.
Yes.
This episode is going to get spicy. Now, a few things. I have never heard any of these questions.
Yep.
I've heard zero. Truly, I have no idea what we're going to get into. And second of all, Maggie has informed me before the podcast that some of these are out of my wheelhouse. Maggie's like, do you want me to change these? Some of these are about renovation.
Should we just not do them?
Yeah, do you think we should not do these? What do you think? And then I said, and I kid you not, I said, bring it on. I want to see if I know what I'm talking about. And some of these are apparently things that would stretch my knowledge pretty hardcore. So I don't know how well I'm going to answer these, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try really hard. And you're going to hear.
It'll be interesting.
You're going to hear me learn on the fly.
Yeah.
And put my fucking 16 years of knowledge into action. So without further ado, I'm going to snap on my overalls. I'm going to pull up my work boots, and we're going to get a little messy. Yeah, let's go.
Hi, Mercury. It's your friend, Tess. I have a question for you, Miss Handy Ma'am. There's a pocket door in our bedroom, you know, the kind that slides into a recess in the wall, and it's recently started making kind of a grinding noise when it slides in the crack. The door gets kind of sticky, and obviously we don't want to force it. Does this call for some kind of door lube? I know we shouldn't force it when it's struggling to open, so what's the solution? Can't wait to hear from you.
Okay, this is a great question, and I promise you I'm not looking this up right now. Ooh, good. So there is. So first and foremost, there is right out of the gate. Oh, but by the way, hi, Kat. Nice to hear you. I hope you're doing really good. But that being said, Kat, the first thing I'll say right out of the gate, there is lubricating pocket door rollers. Okay. Now, how do those work? I don't know. I just looked it up. But it appears that you can even get the ones that can you get to the rollers. You can take the rollers out, and you can rub on some dry lubricant.
That sound effect?
Yeah. Make sure that it sounds like a duck. Doesn't it sound like Mercury's just ducking out here? Okay. Maggie, do me a favor and buy me at least 20 seconds. I got to read.
At least 20 seconds. Is Kat the friend that came to the studio and I met them?
That's a different cat.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of cats, Maggie. They're warming free. They're multiplying and they're eating people's spare tuna in trash cans. Okay, you got to be careful with the cats.
It's like the what do they call it? Like the cat distribution of the universe, where good people just randomly get cats. And I think it's the same for Mercury, but she randomly gets like people named Cat.
Yes, I do. I collect friends that are named Cat. I have to.
And cats.
Yeah, and cats. But also, it is actually one of the reasons why I have to do that is because it's one of the trans girl rules. One of the trans, you got to have multiple cats. You got to have cat ears at home. You have to have friends named Cat. If you don't meet that trifecta, you lose your trans card. Okay. I know there's a trans girl listening right now who's like, "Is that true?" No, it's not true. You're okay. You are loved and accepted.
Just collect as many other cats as you can.
Okay, so few right out of the gate here. So there's the rollers are they have nylon pieces on it. So after knowing there's nylon pieces, I'm gonna say another thing. It should be silicone lubricant. And whatever you get, I would just be careful to make sure it has silicone in it because you don't want it to eat away. Some of that lubricant will eat away at pieces that are made of nylon and rubber and stuff like that. So I would get yourself silicone just to make sure, and it should work either way if it's metal and metal. So that should be okay. If it's metal and metal, you could use some type of graphite too, but if it's metal and metal, you will know. Oh wait, they said it was grinding, didn't they?
I think so.
If it's grinding, oh boy, that's a good one. If they say it's grinding, then I would think maybe the nylon is worn down, and it might need to be replaced. Now, how do you replace a pocket door roller? That's a really good question.
Similar? Would it be similar to like a sliding closet door roller?
I mean, a little bit. It all depends. They're all built different, right? But it's hard to access them sometimes. I'm gonna say you should be able to somehow do that. And when I looked it up, there's definitely tutorials on how to take the rollers off and to do the rollers. But yeah, that would be. I haven't worked with pocket doors a lot. We want to build one in here in the shop, so I think we'll have more answers down the road about pocket doors.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool to have a pocket door, especially in our space with how tight things are getting. Having a pocket door would be nice. But I think having a pocket door and a regular hollow core door would be great because then we'll have two demos we can go over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I answered this good enough. I'm going to give myself a 0.5. I think I answered it, but I'm not positive.
I think you sent them in the right direction.
Yeah, and also, honestly, this episode, if I just get you in the fucking ballpark, give me a cookie, okay? Just give me a cookie, Cat. I feel like I deserve some extra cat food. If I a lot of cat puns this episode. Okay, cool. Next one, please.
Okay, so I'm Lillian. I go by she, her. And in our bathroom, we have a glass sliding door. One of the doors does not slide. When I look at the track on the top, there's like a little round thing that spins to make it go back and forth like a wheel. It looks like there's like a rubber or something to that effect of part on the top of it that's like withered down. I'm not sure how to describe it, but I have no idea what that part would be called, how to fix it or anything. I don't know. It's just really annoying because it's the most accessible door. The other door is like in front of the toilet, so it's really hard to go through. And yeah.
So I've been given the sign to stretch it out. So
Maggie,
you're welcome, everybody.
Maggie, you ruin it. You ruin it by telling the audience.
But if I'm transparent, then me just like suddenly rambling will make more sense.
Maggie, if anything, I'm the transparent. Ah!
Well, while Mercury is doing that, sliding doors. So I did look up a little bit before, just in case. And, obviously there's hard water buildup when it comes to sliding doors. So, I don't know about for this particular one, but in general, just kind of keeping the hard water, stains, I guess, off of your moving parts would be really good. So like a cleaner for a hard water cleaner, making sure that you're wiping down the area, keeping it wiped down so that the calcium and all that doesn't build up. Would help prevent it. And then
okay, I want everyone to know that Maggie looked at me and went, "I'm done. I'm done." Okay.
I'm here just for comedic relief, okay?
Okay. I'm here for comedic relief. Maggie, I love you. Okay, so there's some things here. This is going to be a hard one. This is definitely a stretch one for me because normally I would say there's sliding door brackets that slide onto the top of the door itself, and it can just be adhered to by using some type of like silicone caulking, some type of caulking in general will do it. The one that was sent to us in a photo, it almost looks like, I don't know, Maggie, if you want to pull it up again, and it almost looks like it is built inside the glass. Or there's some type of strong adhesive that is like around this knob. It's like a knob that has a bracket in it that is going up against the door and that's sliding it, right? It's
going through the glass for sure.
It's going through the glass? Oof, boy, replacing that's going to be a nightmare because that's a strong adhesive that's around that. Okay. So what is this called? That's what I'm Googling, and I'm not finding the answers I want here. But here's the thing. I think that you could bring this to a hardware store, and I think you can ask and maybe get lucky. Now, I think if you can take it apart and really look at it, I think you're going to get lucky. Now, there's also Google search images is getting better and better. Right. And Google search images might pull up something. And you might be able to find a name, and then the name will send you down this rabbit hole of finding tutorials for this. Because I'm telling you right now, there will be other people who have the same exact gosh darn problem, and they've posted a video about it because no one else did and someone had to. There always is.
Yeah.
The most obscure shit in the world is on YouTube. And I'm telling you, if you can Google search it, or I was typing in sliding door parts for a bathroom, and I didn't find anything that really stuck out. A lot of it is what I was talking about. The sliding doors I've worked with are the glass itself is sliding into like a bracket, like it's almost like two hands that are holding together with a gap in between them.
So it's not a roller, it's like a track.
Yeah, it's like a track that's just sliding. That glass is just in there with some like gaskets, and it's all like snug and tight. Where we're talking now, this is like almost like a bracket open in the glass area that just like, I don't know, like to me that mechanism itself is built flawed. It's a pretty flawed system. I think that's a hard one. That one, oof, boy, that one definitely is a hard answer.
Yeah, because it's got a knob on one side of the glass, but then you can see through the glass to the other side where it's like it's going through the glass. And it's on both sides.
Here's a tip for every single person who ever has a question about things they don't know. Google search images is getting way better, right? They're getting way, way better. Another thing you can do is just look into, like, if you're talking about like an oven, or if you're talking about, a fridge, you always have the name and a brand, right? That's a little bit easier to find stuff. But if you don't have the brand, what you can do is just type in popular brands. Like find out popular brands for shower doors. And then that can sometimes lead you down the rabbit hole where you find the right answer.
Sure.
And especially when we're talking about windows, doors, frames, all that, it's just so, this is such a unique style. They got to be well known for this. They got to be. Because I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
So that's got to be something unique. Now, how do you get it? Another question was how to get it off, right? Or how to, I mean, it looks like you're going to need to sever it and cut it off. And then once you do that, you're at a point of no return. It's not working right now, right, Maggie?
Yeah.
It's not working right now. Okay. Now there's another route you can go.
Yeah.
Okay. The other route you can go is cut that darn thing right out. Try to save as much as possible. And then some way, shape, or form, take really good adhesive, maybe JB Weld, and weld those two pieces together, like a silicone rubber stopper on one side, and this on another side. And that may be enough to make it work and strong enough. Does that off base? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? Yeah, because JB Weld.
Cut it off, fix it, and then do the JB Weld.
Yeah, now is that gonna work? I don't know. And I know there's someone out there like Mercury. That's the most like fucking farmhouse fix you've ever said on the podcast. But if you don't know the name of it, and we don't know the name of it, and we can't find a replacement,
can you just take the shower doors off
and have it just be an open door, and then you could. You could take the whole thing apart, but that's pretty much a mess because then you just have this open frame that's basically open, and then you could put some type of rings on it to use for showers. Yeah, I guess you could, but doesn't look the best.
Yeah, I mean, I've also seen people taking the doors off and then also taking the tracks off. Now, obviously, it depends on if you rent or not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
you
Yeah,
know,
if this is
if you own,
oh wait, Maggie, thank you. This might be the smoking gun. If this is a renter situation, right, and you are renting this, one thing to know: a lot of apartment complexes, if this is an apartment complex or a property management company, will have spares of things.
That's right.
Right? And they'll buy in bulk. And if you're having this problem, they're having this problem elsewhere. Don't be ashamed to ask this problem. And if they're like, no, you got to pay for it, just ask the name. Ask the name.
Yeah.
Or be like, can I get, hey, I will buy it if you install it or something like that. Because it can't be that expensive. It can't be. This does not look that expensive. It looks like maybe $10, $15 max, maybe. Well worth it to have a shower actually functioning the way you need to. But if it is a renter situation,
that's true.
That's a really good one to ask your landlord about. Because like that one, those little specialty things, they'll have a shit ton of stuff. And I promise you again, if you broke it or it is broken, other people have broken it because it's just this arm in the middle of nowhere and a glass.
Yeah.
There's no way that would be a good design to
not
hold
be able
up.
to replace it.
Yeah, they definitely got tutorials on that somewhere. Okay, I think that was another 0.5. I'm gonna say I'm 1 for 2 today. I'm doing decent. All right, Maggie, you good?
I think we're doing great. I think it's interesting and it's fun. So there's that.
I will say, Maggie said. So were these the two you were talking about, Maggie, about the 2 sliding doors?
No.
Wait, there's another. Wow, really? Okay,
it's gonna get juicy.
Before the podcast started, Maggie told me there's 2 that are very close. That just be aware they're close. And then I thought 2 sliding.
These are the ones that are close.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So these are the ones that are close. So pocket door and a glass sliding. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I thought you were talking about the 2 that I mentioned that are out a little bit out of the wheelhouse.
Oh wait, so those are coming up, right?
Those are coming up.
We got 2 more that I might not know anything about. Oof, boy, I'm sweating. This room.
It just got a lot hotter in here.
I was going to say, wait a minute. So these were the 2 that everyone thought was in my wheelhouse more. Fuck you guys. No, I mean, honestly,
there's an easy one next. Don't worry.
There's
an easy one in the middle.
Then Maggie, this is why I did 3 hours of pep prep before every episode. But yeah, no, I think we're doing good. I like this. This is what it is. Even technicians who are doing your work, I promise they're go-going stuff.
And I know technicians listen to you because my brother-in-law is a technician and he loves listening to you and the podcast.
I will say,
from you.
a lot of people who listen to me are technicians.
Yeah.
We do get a lot of them are landlords too, which I always find weird because I literally I take a shot at landlords every single week of the podcast.
Yeah.
But also I think that's all good. I think if you can listen to this podcast and you're a landlord, if you listen to this and you're a cisgender heterosexual man, you're all doing great and you're a part of the family. You get it. If you're listening to that and you're not getting offended by my words and you still support me at the end of the day,
you're good.
You're doing good. You're doing great. I appreciate
doing
you.
the work.
If you turn off it after I sang I don't like landlords, guess what? You're the problem. Anyways.
And they didn't listen long enough to hear that, unfortunately.
And then all of a sudden you see a downtick on all of the downloads. Halfway through the episode, it was weird. We just lost 400 listeners in the middle of the nowhere. Okay, I think we're ready for the next question.
Hi, Handy Ma'am. This is Tani, she, her. I live in Vancouver, BC. I love your Instagram site, and you are wonderful and often make me cry. You're so sweet. So I have a question for you about cement walls. I live in a co-op, and the walls that are sort of interior do have wooden studs, but the exterior ones are concrete. And every single wall seems to be a little something different. Like sometimes the drywall is directly up against the concrete. Sometimes there's a gap. Sometimes I hit steel. Sometimes I don't. Every time I've looked at putting glue or something in concrete, the instructions are always just straight into concrete and never deal with drywall or gaps. So I'm wondering if you have any advice. I'd like to put up shelves that could hold a lot. I work from home. I'm a prop builder myself, and so I need to put stuff up. and I haven't been able to do that in the 10 years I've lived here. So if you have any advice on how to put shelves into a concrete wall that's behind some drywall, I would love any advice you have. Thank you so much.
This is such a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this one a lot because this is a lot of times we'll have our walls and people just think of it as like all the drywall has studs, you know, all the concrete looks like this. And honestly, when you have homes that are essentially cobbled together, you have a lot of personality.
Yeah.
And by personality, I mean absolutely nightmare situations to deal with. But like you have a lot of that. Now, let's talk about some of this because this is interesting. I'm kind of like looking up something really quick that I think would be kind of interesting. But let's first of all talk about the concrete behind there. Now, the concrete, the cement walls, right, you can get a masonry bit. Masonry bits, I mean, this is where you definitely want to make sure you're using, I think you probably want to use a hammer drill on this. And you know, some drills will have a hammer drill option. You'll have like a 28-volt drill, and then on the side that'll have like a little hammer symbol, and then you can switch it over, and then it operates. And the hammer drill is eventually like this pounding compound effect. It like takes your regular drill and just like it hits it in a different way. And the concrete bit is the route to go. Now, the route I would say here, you're going through drywall first. You know, if you're going through drywall and then you're hitting cement, the concrete bit will tear the living hell out of that hole. So there's two routes I would go. You can get the concrete bit, but don't use that to go through the drywall.
Right.
Get a regular drill bit that goes through the drywall, right? And then just leave that hole open. It might tear open more, right? Because when the next one goes in, it's going to be pretty hard. Now, you're going to be doing this blind, but you can get, there's like these cement hooks or these cement bolts that basically go in there, and then you can just take them and just pound them into the spot. That's essentially what you're going to be doing, right? You put it in there, and then as you pound the center of it, it widens the base, and that base goes right into the middle of concrete, and that should be enough to hold anything in there. You aren't going to be kind of going in there blind, like you won't really know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The drywall.
Yeah, so you really want to make sure you go in straight forward with both the drill and then straight in and keep that drill nice and straight and level, right? You really don't want to angle it because unfortunately you won't really have great you're going to, every time you put a screw or a bolt in there, you're just kind of relying on it. Now, Maggie's going to vamp for 1 second while I look at one thing. It won't take me long because I know what I need for this one. I just want to make sure I know exactly what it's called.
So I think what I'm going to have to start doing is like writing down just random things that I can share on the podcast when I'm called to speak. And she is looking things up because, you know, this was not the way that we did things before. So thank you to all the listeners for, you know, tagging along here with me as I learn this new job role that has been thrust upon me.
Okay. Maggie does this thing all the time where Maggie acts like she doesn't like more responsibility and she doesn't like to be the center of attention. But then when Maggie's on a live stream for more than 20 seconds, she flips her hair, puts her hand on her hip, and like smiles. Like she is Paris Hilton in a fashion shoot. Like, come on.
I have moments. I do have moments, but you know, there's a reason why I'm not TikTok famous and you are.
Okay, so I think I came up with a good solution. Now, so the reason why this is an abnormal one, and the reason why I wanted to look this up, because this is not something you would typically find for a solution like this, but I think you want to be able to see the hole. So I said drywall cable grommet. Okay? Basically, I'm going to show Maggie the picture and she can help me describe, but that's what it is, Maggie. It's basically this grommet that makes a big hole, and then on one side of the drywall and another side of the drywall, it just sandwiches it, and it makes the hole not all drywall. Like you don't have the exposed plaster inside. And sometimes you might be able to find a grommet like a drywall grommet that actually works a little better, that looks a little bit nicer, that isn't as big maybe, because this one I looked at can hold like 6 or 7 cables going through it.
Right.
You probably don't want anything that wide. That's pretty wide. But the wider you go, the easier it would be to see the hole behind there. And then drywall is probably 1/2 inch, but it could be 1/4 inch depending on it. And then it was also said that sometimes there's a gap and sometimes there's not a gap. I'm pretty sure that the grommet can be done without much of a gap.
Yeah.
So it should be okay, but I don't know for sure. Okay. So that would be my hot take on that. And I think that would be basically solve the problem. Now, for those who are like, how do you know that's even concrete? You know, that's a great one because they also said steel beam. They said a bunch of stuff. You really won't know. One of the things you could do exploratory surgery basically on the wall. Do a drill bit, open it up a little bit, and take a flashlight and just kind of look in there, and then do a repair. And then if you're gonna get good at repairs, is what I'm gonna say. You're gonna get good at it, and then you're going to hang pictures where that hole was.
Well, and I mean they've been living there for 10 years, so like to not be able to utilize that wall space.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's a really
It's
good point
worth
of it.
exploring a bit.
That's what I think is so interesting, too, with a lot of this kind of stuff that, we get so stuck in, what we know and what we don't know. It gets to be really hard, and it's such a unique one. It can be so isolating. So I would say, go for the masonry bit. Put the wall grommet in there to make it look a little bit better than just, a big-ass hole in your wall. And then go and try to get something that's going to go into the wall and actually hook onto it. And there should be concrete hooks, essentially, or concrete, connectors or some kind. You'll find them out there. There's plenty of that. That won't be hard for you to find. The drywall grommet, to find one that's going to look nice, might be more of a hurdle, but I think that's going to make it look nice overall and make it more of a clean finish other than just a big-ass gouge in your wall. So...
yeah.
Okay, that one I definitely answered. I feel good. Now, Maggie, was that one of the easy ones or one of the hard ones?
I sandwiched that one in between, two the sliding doors and then two that I'm like, not so sure.
Oh, so the hard ones are still coming? God damn it. All these. Okay, new rule. You got to throw a Mercury a plumbing question in here. You can't get me. I need at least one plumbing question and a drywall question in every episode because. So
send in your plumbing questions, please.
Oh boy, I'm sweating.
It is really hot in here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go for it, Matthew. Let's go for one more. Oh, two more.
Hello, my name is Rachel. My pronouns are she, her. I have a question. I'm buying a house. I'm closing next Thursday, January 12th. I'm so excited. One issue is that the kitchen counters are this very annoying small tile, and we can't afford to replace the kitchen counters now or really in the foreseeable future, but we are people who love to cook and bake, so having these small tiles would be really not great for us because it's so hard to clean. We're trying to dream and scheme of ways to come up with some sort of flat surface over the tiles, maybe like pouring, like a plastic cover over them, or we were also talking about I don't know. I guess I'm just asking for advice about how we could cover these little counter tiles with some sort of flat surface so that we can do things like bake bread, knead on the counters, clean it up well.
So this was one actually that I realized that it's something similar that I've done before. When we had our old home, we had these like old laminate countertops and we hated them. So we actually ripped the laminate off and exposed just like whatever the plywood underneath was. And obviously it's different than the tile, but we used self-leveling concrete. It's like a thin set, and use that to pour over the surface, and it's self-leveling, so it creates a nice like level surface.
What was this called, Maggie?
Self-leveling concrete.
Oh yeah,
and
that's a good one, Maggie.
Yeah, so it was a project, and we did probably like 3 or 4 coats, and then you have to put a sealant on top of it. but it was a great like quick fix in the moment because we couldn't afford to replace the countertops ourselves either.
How much was that, Maggie? Was
It wasn't that much. It was like 8 years ago. So I honestly think I spent less than $100. It might have been like $50 for all of the supplies because we didn't have a lot of counter space though. But, you're just kind of like pouring the concrete on and smoothing it, in all of the directions. But it's because it's self-leveling, you don't have to worry about it like getting wavy on you or and that might help fill in the gaps in between those tiles and level the surface.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah. Was that like fairly hard to apply and work with?
No,
like,
my mom and I did it.
Was the set time pretty fast on that, Maggie?
So I think it only took like 2 days to do like 3 coats plus a sealant.
Okay. So you answered that one with your hot take.
Yeah, I want to hear yours now.
Epoxy.
I was going to say that too.
Epoxy.
I was thinking about those epoxy kits that they have that are super popular.
Yeah, you want to get a kitchen safe epoxy.
Yeah.
You want to make sure this is literally for a tile countertop.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the one thing out of the gate I would say right away.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more taxing than Maggie's, but I think it would look sharper.
Yeah.
Like I think the epoxy one would look really nice and
Yeah.
sharp. The concrete leveling one, I mean, it's kind of like
It definitely looks DIY.
yeah, it definitely does. But I think it's definitely like the cheaper route. And also, I think either route fairly easy to demolish, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're tearing stuff apart, epoxy and concrete will probably be fine. I would say probably epoxy would be easier to tear apart than concrete. Was it hard? Did you take it apart at one point?
No, it was still there when we moved out.
You didn't take it all in one piece then, right?
So it literally just covered the countertop that was already there. So you can't take the concrete off. You would have to take the countertops
Well,
off.
that's what I mean. That if you're taking the whole if you're taking the countertops off, the whole thing's got to go.
Yeah, and it's not very thick. It's very, very thin. Like there were some spots that like had worn out over like the 8 years.
In all fairness, though, epoxy would probably be similar. You can't necessarily. You could probably try to crack some of it off, but that top part's definitely going off.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the two routes: epoxy, self-leveling concrete. 2 decent answers. Next one is a kitchen mat. They make those countertop kitchen mats that are actually designed for baking sheets.
Really?
Yes. Okay. They're like baking sheets that you can put next to your oven and stuff, right? Here's my top bit. Okay. You could do that for now. They make these anti-movable like these mats that you put inside your drawers that keep it from sliding. What if you put that on top of the countertop and then that mat on top of that? And then just for now, just for like buy you a couple of weeks while you're moving in, figuring out, trying to use a kitchen. And now you have something where it doesn't slide. It's easily movable. You can always put it to the side. Those mats can get a little warm if they're by the kitchen, by the oven. So maybe not right next to the oven. But, I think this is something that is definitely usable for now. And it's also, here's the thing, preparation safe.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're talking about. With the epoxy, make sure you get the safe stuff. With the concrete, you should be fine. But really make sure that you get stuff that is safe and good for food. Because here's another factor you got to think about. If it's in a room that gets hot, right? The chemicals that are used for that epoxy or whatnot, they are going to seep out, right? Unless they are like heat safe. Right? So keep that in mind. That's really important. You don't really have the problem with concrete, but epoxy you can. So that's why I say make sure it is safe that way. And it's also like it's kind of like when you put like a plate that isn't meant for the microwave in the microwave. That's what I'm talking about. You don't want that in the air. You don't want that in your food. You don't want those kind of things. But I think if this was supposed to be one of the hard ones, I got it. I got it.
Full solid point.
Why were the easiest ones harder than the hard one, Maggie?
Know.
Jesus.
Then maybe you're going to love the next one. We'll see.
Okay, now I'm very nervous. Okay, let's go, guys. We got one more left.
Hello, I'm calling to leave a message about a DIY home project. I recently bought some furniture from an online store called Wayfair that's not very expensive, but it is painted white, and it's very pretty. And I put it in my bathroom, and then very foolishly left some nail polish remover on it, so now chunks of the white paint are missing. I feel like if I just go over the paint, go over it with new paint, it's going to be still a problem, and then it'll have that weird paintbrushy look. And also, because the paint has a little bit of a finish on it, I'm worried I'm not going to be able to match the paint, or that the paint I put on over it is going to look terrible. So if you have inexpensive furniture and you have partially melted the paint layer with nail polish remover like a dink, how can you fix it so it looks nice and like you never did that? And then, maybe put some glass on it so you don't do it again.
Well, you guys really do know how to make me mad. Okay, this is an interesting one. Maggie, do you got a thought on this one?
I mean, the only thing that I can think of, because of the finish and everything like that, is I don't think you're going to be able to spot fix it. Because
No,
you're
you
not
got-
going to
no.
be able to match it.
Honestly,
So it's like a whole surface.
even with walls, you don't spot
Yeah.
fix it. If you got a hole in the wall, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people, don't paint this over that. You got to paint the whole wall.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with cabinetry and stuff like that. Like if you're having problems like this, if you can't just stay in that one area,
Yep.
you can't just paint that one area. You got to do the whole thing.
So, my thing, though, is I know it's white and it's pretty and all of that, but, how fun would it be to do, a tile mosaic on top of it and, seal it or do something,
this is
really creative
This is
with
definitely
it?
DIY queening popping out right now. Yeah, make the mistake look like it was on
Yeah.
purpose. Yeah, no, I get you. I think that makes sense. I think you could do something like that. Definitely out of my wheelhouse. I will say, okay, so this is wood that is so basically, if I remember this correctly, there's is it a gouge at this point, or is
the
it
acetone is eaten away at the paint and created a
a hole?
hole in the
Yeah,
paint.
because the acetone loves that paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. And then it'll go into that soft wood probably and eat it up like no one's business. Okay, I got one. I don't know if it's a great one, but I got one. So there's a little bit of a gougy wougy, and there's a little bit of a holy woly in it. Get yourself some wood filler, but it's stainable wood filler. Okay. Now, put it into the hole. And as you're doing it, I want you to feather off the sides. I want you to rub your thumbs into it and then push them off to the sides and really feather it off. Now, the reason why everything you do, when it comes up with drywalling patches and hold fillers, you always go more than you have to because you want it to look like it's a natural thing. Bonus point. Did they say that you can see the wood finish on it? Or is this wool? This is all white, right? Can you see the grain, perhaps? No.
Didn't say.
I'm gonna say you probably can't. But there's like a glossy finish on it. They said, right?
Yeah, that got eaten through.
Ooh, okay. So now, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna then paint it. Color your choice. You're gonna need to primer that area. Primer the whole damn thing, to be honest. And then put 2 finish coats of whatever you want on it. And then put a polyurethane finish on it. That should help enough with the gloss. Well, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Someone is out there just fuming like, Mercury, what the hell? I think that's good. Now, if we don't want to change it all, if we think we can I don't think you can match that white. I just don't think you're going to be able to. I think depending on where that white is, it sounds like it was a nail polish hit it. It's probably in a pretty visible spot.
Probably right in the middle.
It's probably right in the darn middle, yeah. And if that's the case, you just got to paint it, the whole darn thing. If it's an isolated, if it's just the top and you can just do the top, you could probably just do the top.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to match those whites well enough, no matter how good the wood filler is. But I would definitely say this is like a 1 primer, 2 finish coats situation. Or maybe even 2 primers and 2 finish coats, because the more thickness you put on there, the more it helps to distribute the color of it. You'll be able to blend more. And then you should be good. Now that's why they mentioned the glass on top of it. Yeah, you could put an acrylic sheet. Put an acrylic sheet on the top of it. Save your money. Glass is so dang expensive, and then you'll have a problem with breaking the glass at some point. But you can get an acrylic sheet from any hardware store for a very affordable price. And if you're going to use it like you're using this in, like nail polish and stuff like that, at least that's going to protect you. But the polyurethane will also protect you decently from it too, because that's durable stuff. Yeah, I think I answered this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like the ones that I thought were going to be hard were easier than the first two.
I gotta tell you, I'm constipated now. After I don't think my butthole has ever been this tense for the entire episode before.
So what is better, having prep time and preparing for the questions, or going in blind and having your butthole clenched the whole time?
I think it's a question for the audience.
Yeah.
I think the audience gets to decide if they want me to be prepped, ready to go, or if they want me to be loosey-goosey. Who knows what's going to happen? But here's the thing. I do think we answered every single question we got this week and last week. They were all very solid questions, very solid answers. And I think that they're good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would change my answer too much if I was given more time, to be honest.
Sure.
And I would just say the only difference is when I'm doing 5 questions that are definitely a little bit tougher, that is harder. If there is
spread them out.
Yeah, if I'm in my wheelhouse a little bit more electrical and a little bit of plumbing and painting and drywalling and that kind of stuff mixed in with a little bit of hard questions that are all in my wheelhouse, that's okay. But if they're all like pocket doors, sliding bathroom doors, all that's a little bit trickier, and all that's a little bit like I'm not positive, right? Because it's going to be so unique to that door, so unique to that situation, and especially this last one where it's like nail polish into the wood. That's a carpenter. That's like a woodworking question.
Yeah.
And even woodworking questions will probably be like, So I think we answered them all today. I would give myself a solid B. This is a solid B grade.
Yeah, I want to know. So listeners, I don't think you can comment on like the actual podcast when you're listening. So go to her Instagram and let us know, because we always post, a post on Instagram letting you know that the podcast is live. So comment on there and let us know what you thought about this format. And I'm really curious.
I'm very curious. I want to say thank you so much for listening to this wonderful episode of the Handy Ma'am Hotline. If you have a question or anything you would like us to answer, you can call 608-205-8768 and leave a voicemail or text us with your questions. Bonus points if you send us voicemails. We're much more likely to put it on the podcast. But if you do send us text messages, we can use it for the podcast, or we can use it for the wonderful YouTube as well. So please be mindful of that. Thank you so much. As always, I want to say a big thank you to our Patreon supporters who make this happen and so much more. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's following me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and elsewhere. We will be doing a YouTube video very soon for all of you that's coming out in February. So keep your eyes out for that. Please subscribe on YouTube and help us reach all our goals. Thank you so much. And as always, Maggie, what should they remember?
You're worth the time it takes to learn a new skill.
Have a good day. Take care. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this episode of the Handy Ma'am Hotline, you can listen to an even longer version by supporting us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon, $10 or more, you'll be able to get an extra long 30 to 45-minute section every single week. Isn't that amazing? More of me and Maggie. Wow! So thank you so much for all those who already support us, and you too can support us and listen to more on our Patreon. Thank you. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us keep the pirate ship alive by supporting our sponsors, the wonderful iFixit. They fight for your right to repair and makes really cool tools in the process. If you need to fix your phone, laptop, or even a vacuum, iFixit has thousands of parts, tools, and free guides to make your life a little bit easier. It's iFixit's 20th anniversary, and to celebrate, they're offering you $20 off of a purchase of $100 or more with a promo code MERCURY20 through the end of this January. Happy fixin'!
So grab your hammer and nails and paint your nails if you want to. You're worth the time it takes to be you. She'll teach you how to fix your house, how to fix it by yourself. The